Alright guys, today we're going to be spending most of the day at the lathe. We're going to be making some knobs on some planes that I have. I'm going to be taking off this cheap looking knob, making a new fresh one. And I also want to make a new knob for this little block plane that I got. And it'll be about the same size and shape, but I'm going to put a divot in the top so my finger will rest on top of there as I plane stuff instead of sliding off. So we'll see how that turns out. I also want to make a new handle for this razor saw, and the main reason I'm doing all this is so I can fit this in this Dutch style tool chest that I made. And the planes will fit in there alright, but the saw, as you can see, is riding about 1 inch too high, so I'll pop this off and make a new one. And yeah, we'll see how today goes. I'm going to start off by setting up my little Wen benchtop lathe. I really like this thing. It works pretty well, and it wasn't very expensive for some other lathes on the market. Now, I don't really know a lot about how to use these or anything like that, but I have a lot of fun acting like I do. But I do know from prior experience that sharp chisels get the job done. So we'll start off by passing them on the stone and then stropping them. And for the bowl gouge, I clean out the inside with an old rag. I'm going to grab some wood that I milled up from a log I found behind my school, and we'll square it. And the first thing I'm going to make is the front knob for the large hand plane that I have. Now, once we have everything nice and round, I start to mark out about where the high spots and low spots are going to be, and the whole knob itself is going to be a little bit shorter than the one that came in the factory. And I was pretty happy with this at the time, so I started sanding it, but you'll see a little bit later in the video how I made a pretty big mistake. I'll go ahead and part the piece off from the lathe and then kiss the top of it on the belt sander. Now, I messed up here because the bottom of the knob is way too big for what the plane allows, so I tried to round it over on the belt sander, and I got a little excited and started drilling the holes for the screw and the little divot so it'll sit nicely on the plane, but I really just didn't like how it looked, so I put it back up on the lathe, which you really don't want to do because if it's like 1 millimeter off from where it was originally, it's going to wobble as you see here, so you basically have to find a new center, and it takes off a lot of time and wood, but I liked it in the end. Then I chucked up the piece for the razor saw handle. Once it was completely round, I had to make the spot for the bolster to sit, and that's that little brass piece that separates the blade from the rest of the handle. The razor saw is basically a hidden tang knife, so I took it over to the drill press and milled out a little hole that would fit the blade. Here you can see I have the bolster stuck on there. We'll pressure fit it in there and then tap the razor saw in there. And I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to hit it against your workbench, but I wasn't really sure what I was doing. Now, lastly, we're going to work on the knob for the small block plane. Here's where I'm trying to make that little divot, but I couldn't get my chisel in there, so I just decided I'd figure it out later, and I sanded it up. Once again, we're going to take it over to the belt sander, and then we'll go over to the drill press. This is just the hole for the screw to connect it to the plane, and then I'm using a countersink bit to make that little divot that my finger will rest in. There was also a little male piece sticking up from the block plane, and I just had to drill a hole so it would register in there. And I'm really happy with how that one turned out, but we're not done yet. We're gonna smear some olive oil on there to make it look nice and pretty. And to add some protection and make them shiny, we're gonna add a clear coat. Now we just need to attach the handles onto their respective tools, and we're pretty much done for the day.